He whispered, "We are above everyone." And the jet engines swallowed my answer. That was the moment I knew the flight wasn't just business. If I stayed quiet, I'd get the contract. If I spoke up, I might lose everything. And I'm 28, a PR specialist at a fintech startup in Miami. My job is crisis-proof gloss. Media lists, founder coaching, smoothing egos with coconut lattes. Rent with a roommate in Brickell, morning runs on the bay. My vulnerability? I'm the first in my family with a degree, and my career still depends on men who sign checks. NNTHE CEO, let's call him D, is a polished 40-something with a wedding band that gleams like a brand. People praise his vision. I notice. He says family at all hands while texting. His cologne lingers, he stands too close. I filed it as office weather. Then came the jet invite. NN Investor Day. His assistant said, "Seats are tight, D wants your media prep on board." She added a smiley. Red flag wrapped as convenience. I said yes. And that's when the clock started. At Opalaka Executive, the air smelled like hot tarmac and fuel. On the jet, leather seats sighed. I pressed my fingers into the armrest. The stitching felt waxy. Out the oval window, clouds stacked like clean paper. I thought, work trip. Keep it tight. Then D buckled in and said it. We're above everyone. Microhook. I filed the line for later. Takeoff thudded through my heels. He poured champagne without asking. To trust, he said. I kept my voice professional. Agenda, investor prep, product timeline, Q3 story. He smiled. Not everything needs slides. Real deals happen between two people. Toxic line 1, and then 15 minutes in, my phone buzzed. My Instagram story, wing, sunrise, got a like from a profile I barely knew, his wife. Then a DM, beautiful trip for work, right? The text sat like a fire alarm, and that's when I realized the cabin wasn't private. It was a stage. I locked my phone and opened the brief. D watched me like a roulette wheel. You're tense, he said. Relax. You and I, there's a connection. He let the sentence hang. You're too sensitive if you think I'm crossing a line. Toxic line 2, NNTHE cabin carried smells. Leather, citrus cologne, the chill of recirculated air. Sun on the wood was bright and surgical. My nails tapped the trackpad. The sound kept me steady. Microhook. I decided to collect everything. He asked about my dating life. I asked about product market fit. He shrugged. You're ambitious. I like that loyalty. Then lower. The board listens to me. Translation received. And that's when fear started to feel like strategy. NNWE touched down in Tampa. For a quick hello. No investor showed. A hotel lounge, cold marble. He slid a key card across the table. If you need a quiet place to work, he said. Black, embossed, silent. Another symbol between us. I didn't touch it. And I moved us to work mode, pulled out talking points, asked for edits. He leaned back. You don't have to be so principled, he said. This could be the beginning of a very generous relationship. Microhook. He finally said the quiet part out loud. And back in the car, my phone lit again. A follow request from the wife's Finsta. Mutuals from the tech scene. Under my jet story, a comment appeared and vanished. Enjoy the view. Screenshots or it didn't happen, I thought, and I took them. NNWE reboarded. The cabin light dimmed to soft gold. D lowered his voice to a whisper. I take care of people who take care of me. He tapped the rim of my untouched flute. And no one needs to know. Microhook. Now it was a proposition with packaging. And I pictured HR the last time I raised a boundary about an advisor who called me kiddo. Smiles. Nods, a calendar hold that went nowhere. Don't take it personally, someone had said. It's for your own good. That phrase stuck like gum. I promised myself I wouldn't hear it again. NNTHE jet droned. My laptop fans whirred. I wrote an email draft to myself and saved it offline. Timestamps, quotes, context. No adjectives, only facts. I asked a flight attendant for sparkling water. I checked the window again. Clouds mirrored on the glass, and I caught my face between them. Microhook. I was done being decorative. And back in Miami, he suggested. A debrief at a rooftop bar in Brickell. I said I had a client call. He smiled like a teacher who already marked my test. Don't overthink, he said. This is how grown-up worlds work. He added, no one will believe drama, and you're too smart to make any. Toxic line 3. In the Uber home, I opened Slack to a message from HR. Can we chat? Nothing urgent. Then a second message. Also random. DS wife called earlier, asking about our social media policy. Probably nothing. And that's when I knew it wasn't nothing at all. HR's Slack ping was waiting when I got home. Can we chat? Innocent on the surface, but my stomach dropped. Messages like that never mean nothing. The second note about his wife calling sealed it. She wasn't just watching, she was circling. And that's when I realized the jet wasn't the climax, it was the setup. And I showered, but the smell of leather and cologne clung to my hair. My roommate asked how the flight was. I mumbled, work stuff, and closed my door. Laptop open, I typed out every detail. Times, quotes, the champagne, the key card, the Instagram DM. Facts, not feelings. I needed a record in case no one believes drama. Microhook. I wasn't just surviving, I was building evidence. NNTHE next morning. The office buzz felt sharper. People looked up from screens just a second too long. My wing photo had hit internal Slack through someone's screenshot. The caption, Investor Day? Dripped sarcasm. I passed a desk and heard, she's moving up fast, with a smirk. That was the moment I knew rumors had already hatched. NNHR scheduled me for 3 p.m. conference room. Frosted glass, 2 bright lights. I expected the usual brush off. Instead, our HR manager, Layla, closed the door and whispered, You're not the first. Her hands shook just enough to notice. His wife has called before. She thinks, well, she's not wrong. Microhook. Suddenly, I wasn't alone. And I laid out the screenshots. The like, the DM, the comments, then the lines. We're above everyone. Real deals happen between two people. I take care of people who take care of me. Layla scribbled notes. We can escalate to the board, she said quietly. But it'll be war. Toxic phrase, she added. Are you sure you want to risk your career over this? It stung because it sounded like his voice through her. And I walked out with my pulse hammering. At my desk, Dee hovered. Everything good? He asked like a dentist. His cologne hit before his voice. I nodded, too sharp. He leaned in. Remember, loyalty goes both ways. Don't make things harder than they need to be. Toxic line number 4. Microhook. He was already suspicious. NNTHAT evening. I went to a founder dinner in Brickell. Long table, city lights outside. D toasted, team growth. His wife walked in halfway through. Perfect dress, perfect smile. She hugged investors, ignored him, then looked straight at me. How was your flight? She asked, loud enough for the table. Forks paused midair. Public scene unlocked. My throat dried. I forced a smile. Productive, lots of prep. The room buzzed. That was the moment I knew whispers had turned into theater. And back home, I replayed it. Her eyes had been cold, not jealous, strategic. Like she wanted me on record. Screenshots, rumors. A wife who already knew. I wasn't fighting just him, I was in their marriage crossfire. Microhook. The game board was bigger than I thought. And I checked Slack again. A DM from a colleague. Be careful. He's done this before. They'll try to bury you. No emoji. Just a warning. I stared at the screen until my eyes burned. And that's when the fear shifted. If he'd done this before, someone else had already bled for it. Maybe I was the one with the chance to stop it. And I drafted an email to Layla. Escalate to board. I'll provide everything. My finger hovered over send. Then a new message popped up. D. Midnight timestamp. Let's keep this between us. You're smarter than the rest. Classic midnight message. Classic trap. Toxic line 5. Microhook. I hit send to HR instead. NNTHE next morning. He walked into the open office, calm, smiling, handing out cold brews like gifts. People laughed, tension masked with caffeine. He dropped one on my desk. For your hard work, he said. False favor wrapped in plastic. I didn't touch it. My cursor hovered over my email draft, titled Board Complaint. That was the moment I knew my counterplay had begun. The board meeting was scheduled for Friday. All hands style, glass walls, catered sandwiches. My stomach felt like stone, but I'd made my choice. I wasn't going to be his secret. I was going to be his problem. NNTHAT morning. My inbox lit up with a calendar invite. Q3 strategy review. D was leading. I almost laughed. Strategy was the last word for what he was running. I slid my phone into my bag with a thumb drive inside. Screenshots, DMs, even the jet key card photo I'd snapped. Evidence lived in duplicates now. Microhook. I had receipts and I was ready to use them. Walking into the conference room, I felt eyes stick to me. People had heard the whispers, seen the posts. A colleague whispered, "Careful," as if I didn't already know. I sat near the screen, laptop open. D strolled in, perfect suit, cologne cloud, voice loud. "We're scaling faster than ever," he said, waving like a senator. Toxic line slipped in. "This team is loyal, and loyalty is rewarded." NNTHE presentation began. Slides clicked. Growth charts. Revenue spikes. My fingers hovered over the trackpad. When it was my turn for the PR update, I stood. Lights buzzed. The air thick with recycled AC. My voice shook for half a second, then steadied. "Our brand depends on transparency," I said. "Not just in metrics, but in behavior." Heads turned. D stiffened. I clicked to my first slide. Team wins. Neutral ground. Then I dropped it. Transparency means deals should never happen behind closed doors or between just two people. Silence. Someone coughed. Microhook. I didn't say his name, but I didn't need to. And NHI's jaw tightened. "Stay on track," he said, clipped. I nodded. "Exactly," I replied. Staying on track means respecting boundaries. If not, rumors become risks. Layla from HR shifted in her chair. She had my file. I could feel it. Investors glanced at each other. D smiled too wide. "Let's not derail," he said. His voice was sugar-laced with threat. Toxic line again. "Don't be too sensitive. We're here for business." And that's when I knew he was cornered. He couldn't call me out without revealing what we both knew. The room had heard enough to wonder. The seed was planted. After the meeting, I left fast. In the hallway, Layla caught me. "Board will want details," she whispered. "Be ready." My pulse spiked. War wasn't coming. It had started NNTHAT night, his wife posted on Instagram. A black and white photo of their wedding rings. Caption, "Transparency matters." My phone buzzed with notifications. Colleagues liked it, shared it. Subtext, louder than text. Microhook. The battlefield had spilled onto feeds. NNTHE next morning, D summoned me. My office, now. The air smelled of burnt coffee. His blinds were half closed, shadow stripes across his desk. He leaned forward. "You think you're special? You're not. Without me, you're nothing." Toxic line. Classic. And I didn't flinch. "Funny," I said, sliding the thumb drive onto the desk. "Because with this, I'm not alone." His face drained. For once, the cologne didn't cover the stench of panic. NNHE hissed. "You'll regret this." Microhook. That was his last card, and it was weak. NNBY noon. Layla had set up a call with the board. Evidence presented. Screenshots. Messages, timestamps, the DM from his wife, the midnight Slack, even the untouched cold brew sitting on my desk like a symbol. The directors didn't interrupt much. Just tight faces. Note-taking. NNTHAT evening. An internal memo dropped. CEO to step aside pending review. My Slack blew up. Some congratulated. Others stayed quiet. Fear is louder than applause. And I shut my laptop. Exhaled for the first time in weeks. But the fight wasn't over. Because men like D don't vanish. They regroup. Still, in that moment, I wasn't prey. I'd flipped the script, and that's when I realized. Power only works if you stay silent. I wasn't silent anymore. The memo hit like a thunderclap. CEO to step aside pending review. 14 words that cracked the company open. Slack channels went wild. Some messages were thinly veiled cheers. Emoji claps. About time. Others were silence, the kind that screams fear. I sat at my desk, heartbeat drumming against the quiet hum of my laptop fan. Microhook. The king had fallen, but the kingdom was still watching. NNBY noon. Whispers turned to stories. Someone said the board was split. Someone else swore investors had threatened to pull funding unless action was taken. HR huddled in corners. Papers clutched tight. I walked past a pod of engineers and one whispered just loud enough. She took him down. My ears burned. I wanted to shrink, but also to stand taller. Both instincts fought inside me. NNTHAT, Evening D, Sana's wife posted again. This time, a photo of the Miami skyline at dusk. Caption: Freedom tastes like salt air. The comments exploded. Cryptic hearts, supportive DMs, even a few veiled shots at him. The post went semi-viral in our little tech circle. Microhook. She wasn't just leaving him in private, she was branding her escape. NNTHE next day. The office felt like a movie set after the star storms off. His chair sat empty in the glass office. Blinds still half closed. People walked slower past it, like approaching a crime scene. The smell of his cologne still clung to the carpet. That empty chair became a symbol. Power vacated. Ego deflated. And that's when I realized, absence can be louder than presence. And around 3 p.m., Leela pulled me aside. The board is backing you, she said, voice low but steady. Your contract stands, but be careful. There will be fallout. She didn't need to spell it out. He still had allies. Men who thought his generosity was a perk, not a crime. Toxic phrase repeated through the grapevine. She's too sensitive. He just misread signals. Microhook. The war wasn't over. It just changed fronts. NNTWO days later, an emergency town hall was called. No CEO, just board members on stage. One spoke in corporate monotone. Our values matter. Integrity matters. Behind him, slides showed company milestones. The irony was thick, the brand bragging about integrity while covering a scandal. Still, the room buzzed with relief. People needed a script to follow. I scanned the crowd. Some looked at me with gratitude, others with calculation. I'd gone from invisible PR to public figure overnight. NNTHAT weekend. I walked Miami's bayfront alone. Sunlight glared off the water, the air heavy with salt and humidity. I breathed deeper than I had in weeks. My phone buzzed. A DM from a junior colleague. Thank you. I thought I was crazy when he crossed lines with me. My throat tightened. It wasn't just my fight. Microhook. I wasn't just breaking free. I was breaking a cycle. And on Monday, a meeting request landed in my inbox from a director. Not small talk. We want your help rebuilding culture. I almost laughed. A week ago, I was just the girl they whispered about on Slack. Now they wanted me in the rebuild. I typed back, happy to contribute, but only if voices are truly heard. Boundaries set in writing. Meanwhile, rumors swirled about D. Some said he was in Palm Beach, holed up with lawyers. Others claimed he was trying to spin it as a witch hunt. Classic power move. But the tide had shifted. His wife unfollowed him on every public platform, and the screenshots spread like wildfire. He was trending, but not for his vision, just for his downfall. In the office, his empty chair remained untouched. No one dared sit there. It became our unofficial monument to everything rotten we'd ignored. And every time I passed it, I reminded myself, silence built that chair. Speaking broke it. One night, over wine with my roommate, she asked, "Do you regret it?" I thought about the jet, the cologne, the champagne, the whispered threats. I thought about the cold brew he dropped on my desk like a leash. And then I thought about the DM from that junior colleague. No, I said, not even close. An NTHAT was the moment I knew I'd never be the same employee again. I wasn't climbing a ladder someone else owned. I was building my own steps. The headline hit a week later. Miami startup CEO steps down amid allegations. Tech blogs ate it up. Phrases like inappropriate conduct, breach of trust, and toxic culture dotted every paragraph. His photo, smiling in that same tailored suit, circulated with captions that weren't kind. The empire he built in boardrooms now crumbled in comment sections. And that's when I realized he wasn't untouchable. He was replaceable. NNTHE office vibrated with schadenfreude. Slack channels flooded with links, memes, even reaction GIFs. People whispered less and laughed more. His name was now shorthand for downfall. But not everyone was celebrating. Some clung to denial, muttering, "He just pushed too hard." Or, "She misunderstood." Those voices stung, but they also proved why silence had lasted so long. Microhook. Exposure doesn't heal everything. It just shines a light. Meanwhile, his wife filed for divorce. Publicly. Her Instagram bio flipped from CEO's wife to independent. Subtle, but loud. She posted a selfie at a beachside cafe. Caption, "New chapter. Black coffee, clean air." Thousands of likes poured in. Watching her reclaim space felt like watching another wall crumble. She'd played her move with precision. NNHR rolled out new policies. Emails dripped with words like accountability and safe environment. Posters went up in hallways. Training sessions were scheduled. Corporate paint over deep cracks. But for once, it wasn't empty. People looked at me differently. Not just the PR girl, but the one who forced this shift. It was heavy, but also freeing. One afternoon, I walked past his old office. The blinds were finally open. Sunlight poured in, washing over the desk that once reeked of cologne and power games. A junior staffer sat there temporarily, awkward in the throne. The empty chair symbol was gone, replaced by something ordinary. That was the moment I knew the spell had broken. Personally, I changed too. I stopped apologizing for boundaries. When someone said, "Don't be so sensitive," I replied, "Sensitivity is clarity." When asked to work late for optics, I said no. My career didn't feel fragile anymore. It felt mine. Microhook, fear turned into steel. NNBUT, the best moment came quietly. That junior colleague who had demed me stopped me in the kitchen. "I stayed because of you," she said. "I thought I'd have to quit. You showed me it's possible to fight." Her eyes shimmered. I swallowed hard. That mattered more than any headline. Nen. Still, nights aren't simple. I sometimes replay the jet. His whisper over the engine, the champagne glass I never touched, the cold brew gift I left to rot. Symbols of a trap I almost stepped into. They remind me that freedom isn't luck. It's choice. And choice is costly. NND vanished from the scene. No LinkedIn updates, no interviews. Just a ghost in luxury exile. Rumors said Palm Beach, maybe the Hamptons. I didn't care. He wasn't my story anymore. My story was survival, exposure, and growth. His story was silence. Now, months later, I still catch myself looking out of plane windows on work trips. Clouds reflecting on glass, engines humming. Same sound, same view. But now it feels different. Not like a cage in the sky, but like proof. I'm not trapped above anyone. I'm just moving forward, and that's the lesson I carry. Luxury can be a golden cage if it's built on secrets. But breaking it open, choosing truth over silence, feels richer than any contract. NNSO. Here's my question to you. If you were in my seat, hearing your married CEO whisper, "We're above everyone" on a jet, would you risk your career to fight back, or keep quiet and hope the cage stayed gold?